I'm sure I'll hear about it if we didn't. Okay, so let's do it up to speed in your own time. Okay, we'll do it one more time. And I'm holding at the end there so you can see this. But normally in staccato, you wouldn't hold for much more than a split second. And there we are, just revealed with the entire world. I cannot snap my fingers. Okay, so any questions about forward?
I don't, if you guys are paying attention to what Lionel's doing, he has a very clean beginning, middle, and end to what he's doing. That's what we call the artistic frame. His entire body begins at the same second, and his entire body ends at the same second. And then if you're looking at
what Jamie is talking about, and this is good, that's good prep for psychological gesturing next week, so that you're not doing this.
Yeah,
and just my arms are engaged.
That's
right? It is.
Right. Yeah.
Right? And I guess actually let me finish the full sequence, and we'll do the full sequence, and then I'll talk a little bit more about a couple of things.
So Lionel, just so you know, we're a couple minutes away from our supposed ending time before we switch to spyback. So.
Oh my goodness. Well, maybe we're just going to learn the 6 directions. All right, well, let's see how we do here. So back, your arms are going to come here in preparation to go back, and whatever leg you want to use, it's going to lunge back into the back space. You're going to get that ready, and then you simply step into the back space and press backwards. Okay? So your palms are pushing into the back space. And notice it's like a plank in yoga. You're not doing that, and you're not looking at the ceiling. You are simply, your back a little bit, because this knee is bent, you're going to actually tilt a little. But I'm looking about halfway up the wall of the movement studio right now. Right? I think my arms are a little high there. It's more here. Right?
And Lionel, can you show that from the side?
Yes.
And notice everybody.
So it's not this, it's this, and it's not this. Right? There is a lean into the back space.
It's a little like lying on a surfboard.
Okay, so let's do front and back up to speed. All righty? And then we'll put the whole thing together in staccato. Then we'll put the whole thing together in legato. And then we'll do a little bit of spy back so that we make sure we get to the spy back. And if there's time at the end, maybe we can do the whole sequence. Okay, so we're going to go front, then back. Remember the clean place. Remember to radiate. And do it with joy. Yeah, my students often think this is glum. It's meant to be glum. You can smile and giggle and laugh as long as it doesn't take you out of the exercise, okay? And especially when you're doing it in a group, if you make contact with someone, you want to receive that person while you're radiating to them. And a smile is almost inevitable then. Okay. So we're going to do right, left, up, down, forward, back. In staccato. And here we go.
To the right. And left. And up.
Thank you, Jamie.
Down. And forward. And back. Some of you may notice, if you have been with GLMCC for a long time, that Lionel is doing the final back form slightly differently than you learned, but this is our new official GLMCC way of doing it.
Mm. And I first learned back with my palms forward.
Me too.
So that got, now, then I learned it this way. I think that this is valid under certain circumstances. It's not as will-based, right? It's more passive, but it's also more open. So if you find it useful for something, go for it. But pressing into the back space is what we teach now.
Great.
Was there a question?
I think you just answered it.
Did I? Cool. All right, so now we're going to do it legato. All right, and legato, of course, is continuous flowing movement. Okay? All right, so here we go together.
To the right. To the left. And up. And down. And front. And back.
And the principle, of course, is when you're finished, you come back to the clean place and you receive from your body, from your psychology, from the space, and if you're with other people, from them as well. Okay, so you don't need to be adjusting and fidgeting and all that kind of stuff. But part of what goes on with this exercise, I think too, is helping students to stay focused, concentrated, and not let those little fidgets come in and fixing, because you need to eliminate that tendency, or when they get on stage and they're not in the focus, they're going to be fidgeting, right? Okay.
So Lionel, we should probably, just as so we're close to staying on time, we should probably make some final comments and then open it up to Spyback.
Sure. All right. Let me just grab my little notes here. So, and this is on the recording, so you don't need to worry about trying to write. I'll get where you can see me. So some of the principles in staccato legato. Artistic frame begins it, right? It is full-bodied all the time. We're working on the principle of polarity, or one of the laws, Chekhov's laws, polarity, transformation. Now I can't remember, but anyway, you know where to find them into the actor. Integration of breathing with movement, so that they go together in harmony. You are awakening those 6 directions, right? And you're filling the space with your energetic body so that it's there for you to support you. Tempo, rhythm, so you've got staccato and legato, the 2 polarities. When you do it in a space with a group of people, it will create ensemble. I'm a little bit all over the place here, sorry about that. It begins always with 0 point and a dropping in of the breath. And we radiate in all of the directions. Radiation is always there. Okay, Jamie, did you need to add anything to that?
Well, briefly, if you're new, if you're one of our brand new people that haven't taken Mod 1 yet, when you come to the Consortium, we take much more time in teaching this. Our online sessions are significantly shorter than what we do at the Consortium, but when you come, you get a much bigger introduction to all this stuff. And for everyone
these were really envisioned as a review for people who've done it before, right? Okay.
Lionel, we should probably tell them the full sequence just so they know what it is.
Oh, yes. Okay, so it's 2 full rounds of staccato,
so
2 full rounds of legato, 1 full round of staccato, 1 full round of legato, returning to 0 point and staying focused.
So just to repeat that, everybody, you end up doing 36 moves. You do all 6 directions, staccato twice in a row, and then you do all 6 directions, legato twice in a row, and then you do 1/6 of staccato and 1/6 of legato. Does that make sense? If that doesn't make sense, you can ask. now, I suppose.
Cool. So this is this can be used in several ways. Certainly, it's a training, right? It trains the actor's body and their breath and their imagination all at once. It's a wonderful warm-up for a class. Typically, my students will cross the threshold, ideal center, we do a walk, and into a circle to do staccato legato. I like to do it in a circle because it fills the energy between us, right, in this kind of situation. And then when we get to 0 point, I ask them to start to just one person at a time receive the beauty in each person in the circle, okay? And then to start to receive the space between us in the circle. And then I actually have them reach in and feel that energy. And my students will oftentimes reach into the back space to see the difference. Hi, Roland, I just saw you. And then we step into it to begin the class and allow that energy to fill the room. Okay, so as a training, it's a wonderful thing to do.
Lionel?
Yes.
I also use it, this is Kathy, by the way. I also use it when I audition because it's a wonderful prep as I'm waiting for my turn to go in. It's a wonderful prep to get me centered and ready to step into my actor's ideal center and do the work inside that space.
And many of us do it before we perform as well.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And, you know, when you have a show, it's a wonderful way to create ensemble. Yep. And then it's a wonderful warm-up for the cast before rehearsal or before her performance. And in fact, a number of times, our graduating students, when they go to Toronto and do their audition, their class audition for grad recital, they'll do it on the stage in front of all the people who are there. And all of a sudden, all the agents stop nattering away and they're like riveted to the stage. So there are several ways to use it, and I've even used it myself in the wings. I've had non-acting students tell me they do this exercise when they are stressed or before exams. That's a good one. Yeah, it does have a calming effect, but it also gives you energy so that you're not getting dulled by it. You know, oftentimes I talk to my actors about, you know, they'll get up to do a monologue and they'll do this. And then you've got this to start with, right? But if you do this, now I'm ready. I'm present, I'm in the space, you can feel my energy, right? And that will get the attention of the auditioners. So I think that that's a wonderful thing to do as well. Shall we throw it open for questions, or if any of the teachers want to add anything that Jamie and I have not yet said?
Yeah, so I think the next feature we're going to use is the raise hand feature. If this is your first time on Zoom, you can go down to the bottom and click participants, and then go to the right hand side, and you should see a little button that says raise hand. If you don't see the raise hand button, then you can message me in the chat and say, hey, I'd love to send a spy back out there. So I will feature anyone's video who is raising their hand or has gotten my attention.
And just while we're waiting to see if anybody has comments, questions, and if you want to share something that you've done with this exercise with your students, that's absolutely wonderful too. But I just want to say thank you. You have no idea how terrified I was doing this. This is the first time I've taught on Zoom, having to demonstrate myself rather than just watch my students do something they already knew. So now I feel like I've cut my teeth, and PG next week will be loads of fun.
I'm actually now going to mute everybody but Lionel because I'm hearing a little weird feedback.
Okay, Lee Wilson has his hand up.
Okay, great. I will click on Lee Wilson. Just one moment. Oh, like his physical hand up. Got it. Got it.
Well, he had the little symbol too.
Oh.
That was just me clapping for you.
Oh.
Okay.
I was going to say, Lee, if you have a question, come over to my backyard. We'll have a glass of wine.
I have Nikki Ferry here who has her hand raised.
Ma'am, oh no. Okay. Two thoughts. Mariah and a bunch of us last night were discussing how do we have the feeling of the whole when we are not physically present, and I feel like today's demonstration proved that you still can, even though you're in separate. So that, because we were talking about that, and I was like, well, I really think that you can still experience the feeling of the whole, even though we are, but we did discuss that the students that might not have the privilege of having very fast Wi-Fi, that might, you know, mess that up a little bit. My other thought is when you, Kathy, thank you for sharing that you do this before auditions, because I cross the threshold and usually use the open gesture just to calm myself, but this is, I'm going to start incorporating this. And also mentioning before productions, I train at City Company periodically, and they always do, they always have a viewpoint session and a Suzuki mini session before any performance. And I think that's wonderful that this is also another avenue that for us, that we can have this as a little ensemble warm up before performance.
Cool.
Okay. I now have Anne. I'm going to spotlight your video.
Hi, Anne.
Oh, she's muted. Hang on.
Myself, I got to, yeah. Hi. This was great, and I love the new back palms. It just has a completely different feeling, and I could feel the energy traveling so much further or farther. I don't know the right word.
Probably further because it's figurative.
Further. Okay, there we go.
I'm guessing.
I use this before performances as well, and going along with what Chris Bohan taught us about christening the space with gestures and qualities. And it's been wonderful for me. And for my students, we open every class with it. And it does, over the course of the year, as they're discovering or working on new things in the technique and with their own work, we'll focus, I'll say, focus on something different today, whether it's the brothers or whether it's artistic frames. And it just keeps deepening their exploration throughout the year.
That's a great point. That's a great point, because you can, because the entire technique is in, it's really is in this.
Yeah, Leonard's right.
You can do it and say, all right, everyone, focus on beginning and end today. All right, and now tomorrow we're going to focus on radiating. You know, it can be anything, form, ease, everything.
Yeah. And the other thing is, my students will often say that they can feel the blood rushing through their body. They feel tingles, they feel goosebumps. Those are all sensations. And physical movement gives rise to sensation, which leads to a feeling, right? My graduating seniors and I do, whoop, somebody just wrote something in the chat. I didn't get to finish it before I disappeared from the screen.
Oh, it says, my graduating seniors and I do Stacato Legato a final time on our stage the morning of their graduation. Really missed it this year.
Except not this year. Yeah.
He's still my beating heart. So let's talk about a little bit of controversy.
Oh.
Oh, can you see my feet?
Yes.
Yes. All right. When I learned Stacato Legato, I did this, and no one ever corrected me. My back heel is up. Mark always wanted the back heel down so that you were more stable. My personal opinion is whatever makes you feel good, and as long as you're stable is fine. This helps me feel like the energy is going that way from all the way down there. And when I do this, I feel like I'm going in two directions a little bit. But that's entirely up to you. Whatever, if you feel like you are stable and your energy is going in the direction of your hands, then you're fine.
One of the things about the stability is that if you end and you're wobbling, you haven't ended. So stability becomes really important. And Mark did a lot of stage combat, and being flat on your feet and being able to go in any direction you want at any second was really important to him. But you can see that there's a lot of different things to focus on with this.
Yeah.
Well, and am I muted now? I don't know if I'm muted.
You are not
I can hear you, my dear.
Okay, it's the difference too between, if you're doing yoga, I think of warrior one as staccato legato. Crescent lunge is that back heel is up off the floor. And if I think of warrior one, and that for me works really well with staccato legato because it speaks to me of strength. And the form is very similar then.
And strong is one of the elements of form.
Yes.
That it must be strong.
Our next spyback comes from Dan Hendrock. Dan Hendrock, over to you.
Hey, Dan.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey.
Oh, I miss you. Okay, sorry. My two points that I have. When I learned this, and I don't know if it was mentioned, I was listening, but soft focus. Kathy taught us.
Yes.
And that really works well for me during this.
Yes.
Just to go to reiterate, Kathy, why that is important when doing this exercise. And then the second part is that when I learned it differently, I found it very difficult to start pressing behind me in the backspace. But repetition is the growing power, so I'll just repeat it until I got it.
Well, and Dan, the first year that Kathy and I learned it, I think, Kathy, you and I learned it from the same person first.
Yes.
Wrong.
Yeah.
We learned it in the wrong order.
Yes.
We learned right, left, forward, back, up, down.
Yeah.
And oh my God, 2-3 days of doing that and then have someone tell us we were in the wrong order. It took me 2 years to stop making mistakes.
Hey, Kathy, can you just briefly tell everybody what soft focus means?
Yes, soft focus means that you are very much aware of everyone around you. And I always did it with my classes in a circle, and in my casts were in a circle. But your focus was internal so that you could be aware of the sensations that were happening in your body that will lead you then, hopefully at some point, to feelings. But you have to be aware of those sensations. You have to allow your body to have them. And so soft focus works really well for that because you're not distracted. It's the difference between willed and unwilled concentration, which I'll talk about when we do imaginary body. But the soft focus, if you put your hand in about 10 inches in front of your face and a little bit downward, just slightly down, Lionel, there you go. And look at your lifeline and you focus on that. Your gaze is on that. And when you feel you're ready, you take the hand away, and that's what soft focus is. I'm still aware, I still have my peripheral vision, but I am really focused internally so that I can listen to my body. And I think in staccato legato, that's always been very important for me. Does that explain, Dan? Thank you.
Big thumbs up from Dan.
And it's the opposite of piercing, right?
Yes, no piercing.
And it's similar to Stanislavski's circles of concentration.
We have one last person with their hand raised, so I'm going to spotlight their video before we wrap it up for the day.
Oh, wow. An hour went by.
Oh, Joe, I'm unmuting you.
Hi, Joe.
I'm muted by host? Unmuted by host.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's on me.
I'm new to GLTC.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Via Rich Remedios. I know he'd want me to say hello to all of you.
Hey, Rich.
Oh, tell him hello back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what really intrigued me about Chekhov, and I hear you say that the whole technique's in here, and I can start to process that a little bit, but is in difference to other acting techniques, I'm hoping to find a way to be a deeper connection with the text and emotional connection. Let me make that clear. And how can staccato legato, if you may offer anything up that, what you feel is why this will help us emotionally get deeper with the text as we connect with it, truthfully, not.
I'll take that if it's
Does that
okay.
make sense?
So Joe, I talked just a little while ago about my students will say they feel sensations like the goosebumps, tingling, that kind of thing. That's the beginning to deep emotional connection. In the Chekhov work, at anything psychophysical, you do, and that gives rise to a sensation, so something physical in your body that causes feeling to happen, which is expressed as emotion, right? Okay. Without putting the focus on the emotion. The focus is on the action. And the emotion or the sensation comes along for the ride. I had a teacher who used to say, the emotion will come like hanging clothes on a line, right? It just starts to come out. So this is training. So it's the beginning of teaching you how to tap into your body through movement to access your psychological and emotional life.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
You. Yes, absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you for offering that up.
You're welcome. I'm always so afraid I'm going to fail when I'm answering a question.
No, that's perfect.
The body remembers, the body knows. Abigail, thank you.
Lionel, do you have any more notes you'd like to say before we wrap up and say goodbye?
No, I think, please practice this. If you're coming to PG, the principles in this exercise apply to psychological gesture.
Yes.
Okay? And we now know how long it takes to do this. It's already 5:02. Well, my heavens.
Yep.
I don't know if we'll get through all of PG. We might only manage to do a few, but it'll be a taste. And maybe we can add in time to do more at a later date in June.
Amazing. I'm going to encourage everybody to go back to gallery view so we can all see each other as we say goodbye and leave the meeting at your own time.